Well, we want it all, and let's get all the reviews out of the way.
I want it all. I want it now.
Well, speaking of right now, let's right now get out of the way the review of SmackDown, because you and I both watched at least portions of it.
You want me to get it out of the way? Okay, hold on. Here we go. Let's get that out of the way. There we go.
SmackDown?
That's out of the way. That was SmackDown.
Wow.
No, I can't do that. There was a couple of things on here. It was, of course, SmackDown for December 30th. They had heavily publicized this because the return of John Cena, his first WWE match in the year and last in the year 2022. He only had another 24 hours to get it in. 15,738 in Tampa. And apparently, after Cena was announced, 2 weeks ago, they moved over 5,000 tickets after people found out he was going to be there. So would Brock do that now? If it was a big match, Brock would.
No.
Maybe?
No. I think if Cena did that number in that market, that's probably as good as anyone could do right now in that market.
What about in any market? Who sells 5,000 tickets anymore? And by the way, so-and-so is going to be there. Oh, shit. We've had the chance to buy these tickets for months, but now we found out one guy's going to be there. We're going to hop on it. Who else anywhere does that now? Punk did in Chicago.
I was just reading that, that Mandy Rose got congratulated by that porn platform or whatever. I shouldn't say it like that.
Now, wait a minute. Now you've got her. Holy mackerel. She's the star of the Tijuana Donkey Show now in your mind.
No, come on. Let's not talk bad about Tijuana.
Filthy.
Listen, what I'm saying is
those donkeys deserve better conditions too. That's why I donate every year.
She just got congratulated by the platform for making over $1 million before the end of the year.
In December.
Right, before the end of the year. I should have said for the month. In the month of December, $1 million. I don't know how many subscribers or super subscribers. I don't know how it works. But if she did a live event right now, just her, I don't even know what she would do, because it's not even stripping. It's just like, I'll be there and I'll sit in different positions and talk. I don't know what it would be. Could you brought up 5,000 people. Could someone like that get 5,000 people just to see her?
No, not a chance. You don't know why?
Yeah.
Because, now, is it a live arena event? That's what we were talking about.
That's what we're talking about, because we're talking about ticket sales, yeah.
Then there's not a chance in hell. No, not a snowball's chance in a hot oven. Now, if it was a pay-per-view event where she tells all of her subscribers, hey, I'm going to sit there in these different positions and I'll have my little nips under the water, but just barely, or whatever the fuck, and you can purchase that in the privacy of your own home, then she might do that, because none of those people want to come to an arena and do what they're doing while they're looking at her shit, while they're sitting in the goddamn Freedom Hall in Johnson City or whatever, next to a bunch of people. You see where I'm going with this?
So you think, though, it could be a successful pay-per-view?
Well, depending on what she advertised and what she delivered, it could very well be a successful pay-per-view. But I don't think it's something that people want to go out and see in a live forum. Not that they don't want to see that live, but they don't want the other people to see it live. The only place they do shit like that's at the Mitchell Brothers in San Francisco. They probably closed that down with the pandemic. I would think that probably wouldn't have flown.
Yeah. Plus, one brother killed the other one. That kind of put a damper on things.
Well, but it didn't harm my enjoyment of the place. It was totally none of my business, and I wasn't even there.
Did you actually go to the real place?
I've been there a couple times. Anyway, so on SmackDown, we proved that Cena can move 5,000 tickets, and Mandy can move it, or at least put a little blood in it. But nevertheless, they start the show with Bray Wyatt and the spooky entrance from behind the green forbidden door. There's the drum solo and the lantern, and the cell phone lights in the arena are impressive as fuck. And the people love him, and he's got something with the entrance. again, there's all kinds of something about this guy. And I wrote in, boy, if he ever gets to a point, if he ever makes a point. They did the deal the previous week where he attacked a cameraman. He lost control of himself and attacked a cameraman. And that already damages this, whatever he's going to say for me, because no, he didn't. No, he fucking didn't. Maybe you can wipe a cameraman out accidentally. They do it in football. That can happen or whatever, but you can't know. You can't do that. And that already makes me not want to believe this. And then he starts doing the promo in the ring. And we say he can talk. He has a very charismatic speaking style, but you're waiting for the period at the end of the sentence. You're waiting for the point. You're waiting for whatever he's talking about to become clear. Stacy walks through the room. And it says he's saying the same thing every time I walk in here. Which is kind of true. So finally, he apologizes for attacking the cameraman, quote, in cold blood. And then suddenly LA Knight's music interrupts. Yeah. Something interrupted this. And I don't know if it's necessarily a positive thing that the heel is mocking Bray Wyatt for the same thing we are. You can't finish a sentence. You never get to the point. You pay some goon to be Captain Howdy, but you're still responsible. That's why he's mad at Bray Wyatt, but that's the truth. That's got to be what everybody's thinking, isn't it? He never gets to a point. He never says anything. This whole Captain, I don't know.
He's always been like this. That's what gets me about people that still like him after his return, or people that still wanted him to come back. What is it that you get into? Because nothing ever happens. This guy never wrestles. When he does wrestle, you'll see. Oh, you'll see. You don't remember. I remember. He's not fucking, I'm not going to compare him to anyone, but he's not good. He's not good in the ring. And then you get all this and it never goes away. It only gets worse.
Well, when LA Knight speaks, at least things keep moving along and you get what's going on. He's a normal human being. And LA Knight said, you're a fraud. You're a broken down loser. The Rumble is coming up. Well, I'm going to put Bray Wyatt out of his misery. And then when Bray Wyatt bowed up finally and said, you little idiot, maybe it's time to remind you how cruel I can be when I feel like it, and accepts the challenge. That was good. He actually bowed up and responded to something and sounded like, there's flashes here. But then, as soon as he accepted for the Rumble, then we get the screen with the Captain Howdy music and the Captain Howdy video and the clip. It's disguised, distorted sound, revel in what you are, embrace the dark. Now it's fake again. Because he accepted a challenge that he supposedly wouldn't have known was coming. And then perfectly on cue, here comes the Howdy music and the entrance of Captain Howdy. And the people are liking it. And it takes a while. So finally, Captain Howdy gets to ringside. And it's so dark you can't really tell who's who and what's what. And he puts his hat on the apron and he gets in the ring. And LA Knight's just standing there watching. And Bray Wyatt's standing there watching. And there's a long milk. And then Captain Howdy turns around and stands next to Bray Wyatt. And there's LA Knight. I'm thinking, okay, the two of them going to beat him up or whatever. And then Captain Howdy turns around and grabs Bray Wyatt and gives him the Sister Abigail move and lays Bray Wyatt out in the middle of the ring. LA Knight jumps out confused. And Captain Howdy leaves the ring, gets his hat, puts his hat back on, and walks out. And Bray Wyatt is selling. And the people now that were into all this are just like, what the fuck? So they lost even them. They almost had something here, but I think they ran it off right in the middle. I don't know. I don't know.
Again, everyone Started thinking it was just Vince that was the problem the last time Bray Wyatt was there with all the stuff like when he drowned Braun Strowman and when he was lit on fire. I think other people and things were lit on fire. There was magic. There was puppets. And here it is now, and it's back, and it's just in the middle of this show. All of a sudden this happens. I guess he moves merch, but it goes nowhere. And now they're going to have this match at the pay-per-view, and the pitch black match. I don't even know. This is not good.
They shouldn't have a pitch black match. They ought to have a black bitch match.
Okay.
Well, Cody's there. They could bring Brandy in. She could do that promo.
Brandy versus Bray Wyatt. I'd totally sign. That'd be the best feud he ever had.
It'd be great. It'd be great. All right. So as a tease for later on, Sami Zayn is in the back hugging Paul Heyman, and they're talking to each other. Paul and Sami are doing the Jewish references, even though Sami's Syrian, right? But the interplay between these guys is incredible. But Paul mentions that the crowd chanted Sami last week while Roman was standing there. That's not really a good looking thing to have happen, and it planted that seed in Sami's mind for later on. And then Sheamus versus Solo. That's where Michael Cole mentioned Don West passing, and that was a nice touch. And again, don't have it. There's nothing wrong with either one of these guys, but Solo, now Solo is doing the Samoan spike, and he's got his, it used to be the Asiatic spike when Gordy brought it back from Japan, but he's got his whole wrist and hand and thumb taped like a fucking cast. And Brian, could Ernie Ladd even get the taped thumb over in today's environment?
Probably not.
Because I'm thinking, again, and it
looked pretty cheesy at times, even back in the day.
Yeah, but I'm seeing now all these guys are getting up after being hit with Zambonis and run over with tanks and thrown off the roof and the thumb to the throat, and Sheamus is down for the fucking count. I don't know. And then the heels get in and get heat on him until here comes Drew McIntyre to make a big save. But they're kicking the shit out of Sheamus, and they're going to give him another spike while they're holding him. And Drew McIntyre's music plays, and out he comes. He's 200 feet away. If you're robbing a bank and the money is in your hand, if you hear the police siren on a police car, but it's from a half mile away, do you just drop the money and run out of the building? Or do you complete the crime that you're in the middle of because you got time? Anyway, that's another modern wrestling invention. Go back and look at any footage from days gone by. If somebody's getting the shit kicked out of them, the shit kickers are kicking that shit until some son of a bitch gets in the ring and physically stops them from doing it, or hits the ring with a bat or a pole or a chair or whatever that caused them to flee for their lives because they've got the job done. They don't stop when the cavalry that's coming for the save is 100 yards away. Anyway, did you see anything with this match that you'd like to notate?
Like I said, I didn't see the whole show, and this was part of the show I didn't see.
Did you watch Raquel Gonzalez Rodriguez de Molina Jr. Mascaras versus Ronda Rousey?
De Molina Jr. Yes, I did. I watched at least the end of it.
She looks great, Raquel I'm talking about now, and she seems to have improved a lot. And I know, because Ronda Rousey's matches have been dog shit awful, right? But this wasn't bad. And Raquel, see, she can show her strength like a female Dr. Death Steve Williams. Doc wasn't the best bench press, but he could show his strength in a wrestling context better than most people. And, you know, Raquel was doing a variety of things and she's got that big wide back spread. But finally, Rousey had an arm submission on Raquel and was straddling her shoulders while Raquel was standing on a second turnbuckle. And Raquel fell backwards to try to get Ronda off, but in the process landed in the arm lock and hurt her arm and hurt herself and tapped out. That wasn't a bad fucking finish. And I'm thinking, well, at least, Rousey has just not been very rousing lately, but wasn't a bad match. And I guess they're going to keep the belt on Ronda is what I was thinking, but Raquel's looking good. And all of a sudden music, and here comes Charlotte. As soon as Ronda had started to talk, and thank God we didn't have to hear much of that. And that was Charlotte's over. And they didn't know she was going to be there, so she got the surprise pop and the return pop. And when she gets in the ring, you just look at Charlotte, and then you look, if Ronda Rousey did not have the name and reputation that she had from the MMA world and from the UFC, she wouldn't be on television. Because there's Charlotte's a star, and there's Ronda. And I was the first one to admit that Ronda Rousey was a big fucking name when she first started this thing, and she deserved that debut at WrestleMania. But between cooling off and just looking like she doesn't give a shit, and that was where this Charlotte comes out and the people are roaring and they're up and she gets in the ring and they're face to face, and Ronda not only botches the promo, like 30 seconds, it was all it was to begin with, and she couldn't get that out, but she threw it away. Just like, And then she didn't even get the name of the pay-per-view right or whatever the fuck. And then, finally she accepts the challenge that Charlotte makes, and Charlotte hits her with a big boot to the face, gets a 2 count, nails Shayna Baszler off the apron, spears Ronda. Ronda rolls through and gets the arm, and Charlotte rolled her up and pulled the tights. 1, 2, 3, just like Flair. New champion, huge pop. Charlotte goes into the crowd to celebrate. The babies go in the air. Hopefully, is this the end of the Rousey experiment?
Well, she did return 1 year ago, because that was the first thought I had. The way this went down, I was like, oh my God, is she done? I don't know if she is or isn't. But she returned 1 year ago at the Royal Rumble. And it's been a bizarre year for someone who did show so much promise, not just in that first match, but at least at times during that first run.
Yeah. And then to come back like, I'm over it. I think that's it. She fulfilled her, it's like Tony Khan. He always wanted to be a booker, so he bought himself a company so he could be a booker. Ronda Rousey wanted to be a wrestler until she got a little taste of it and had, she wasn't even a goddamn full-time wrestler, but, the first run, okay, then she goes to have kids and raise goats. And I'm not even kidding, folks. Look it up. And then since she's been back, it's like, I don't really care. I guess they're paying me a lot of money. That's the vibe.
I'm going to ask you another question about Ronda in a second, but what do you think of Charlotte as a babyface? Because usually we see her as a heel.
Well, again, timing is everything. Because we missed her because she went away. She did do the angle where Ronda hurt her to come back, so it makes sense, to come back in that fashion. And also, let's face it, a lot of the WWE fans are just going crazy over the returns and the surprise reappearances, because not only are these people they wanted to see, but also they went through a long period of time where that show was pretty fucking bland, and it still ain't nothing to really write home about. But now Charlotte's back, and this guy's back, and that girl's back, and blah, blah, blah. So they're giving them something. So I don't see why she would have come back as a heel.
If you were Tony Khan, would you consider, if Ronda Rousey was a free agent, doing a deal with her to bring her in?
I don't think so. I don't think she'd do it. And if she doesn't want to be in the WWE, I don't think she necessarily would want to be in AEW. And even if he said, I'll give you $10 million and, my dad will pay you out of his own pocket, whatever the case. still, she hasn't seemed like she was excited to do this. I don't think she's going to be hurting for money after this little run she's just had. It's a part-time deal anyway.
If it's a one-match thing, one match in a series of live appearances to build up the match, to have her lose to someone like Jade, is it worth it? Is she still a big enough name outside of WWE that it would be worth it?
Her versus Jade, goddamn, I'd watch that. That has epic awfulness written all over it. I can't say Tony does strange things, so I can't say that he wouldn't do it.
He can make her such a great deal. Listen, I'll hire you. I'll hire any goats you have, whatever you have on the farm. I'll put them on the payroll. They can come work here every week.
You can have an interview segment, Browsie's Acres. I mean, it's crazy enough. Maybe he will. Yeah, here, Rhonda, $5 million. Just put Jade over in 10 minutes. Why not?
She gets reunited with Marina Shafir, right?
Oh, what? No, she doesn't know her.
She doesn't?
Well, that's what Marina said. She was looking right in the camera, told her, "You don't know me."
All right. Very good. Well played.
If you don't know me by now, you will never, ever, ever know me. Ooh.
And that was the moment that Philadelphia turned on Jim Cornette right here on the show.
Hey, but the bloodline was in the back because Sammy wants to be on the same page with Roman. And so he brings up the Sammy chant, and Heyman's face, he's listening to what Sammy's saying, and he's nodding and vaguely smiling. And then suddenly he starts to bring up the chant, and Heyman's face registers, and then he starts doing it, and Heyman starts cringing inside and curling up into a little ball. It's classic. And Roman said, no, everybody, you brighten everybody up, right? Bring that tonight. Bring that energy. That's what I want. And apparently Dominic Mysterio got arrested at Rey Mysterio's on Christmas. From what I saw from the clip, they should have arrested Rey's wife because she slapped Rhea Ripley. That's assault. I don't know why it's the same. It's not as in such bad taste as the Pillman Austin gun home invasion thing, but it's still just as phony. And they don't even try to have a plausible reason why the camera is there anymore. But yeah, Thanksgiving wasn't good. Now Christmas was the shits. I don't know what happened New Year's. Maybe we'll find out that we're going to have a mixed tag. Rhea and Dominic against Rey and his wife, whatever her name may be.
Hey, you know what? It hit me seeing some of this, and I saw the whole video because it was on social media of him and Rhea showing up. Dominic Mysterio may be my most improved wrestler of the year.
Do you mean for his wrestling or his speaking and personality?
For his personality alone. Although sometimes since he's been heel, I think we've seen him wrestle maybe twice.
Yeah.
He does a good job now being a chicken shit. But in terms of personality, he's great. I hate to put it this way. He's kind of like a better version of Sammy Guevara in a sense.
I ain't going to argue with you. At least he's got the height.
Yeah.
Would it be hilarious if Sammy Guevara's father's like 6'9"?
No, why would that be funny?
Because there's little Sammy, and meanwhile Dominic's 6'3", and there's Rey. Funny how these things work out. They could work an angle off of that. So,
but
anyway,
but Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley are, I think, pretty good together, actually.
Well, have you been peeping in their hotel room window?
On camera, on the show, as personalities together, they have done a good job together.
As co-workers, they have interacted in a positive fashion. That's what you're trying to say,
That's
right?
What I'm trying to say, yes.
Well, I'm not going to let you say it.
Thank you.
So anyway, Gunther and Brown Strongman were arguing with each other. Strowman, I get he's passable as a promo, I just get the big, I don't really understand what I'm doing here because I'm a big fucking meathead vibe off of him. But he beat up the minions of Gunther, Marcel and Bartel or whatever. He did the phony run around the ring tackle spot where everybody has to bump off of him because he barely touches them. But then Gunther put him through the guardrail and beat him up with a chair and got heat on his arm. And the referees are all standing around. They can't do anything. And here comes Ricochet. And again, remember we were talking about in the AEW show, the save was made by the littlest fucking guy, right? Well, this time, at least, the littlest fucking guy brought a chair. And that's why when the heels see the little guy with the chair coming, they bail out and they leave the guy they're beating up and they bail out right at the last second. So at least they did that part right here. The heels didn't stop until the babyface got in the ring and then they scattered. And the babyface brought an equalizer, as we used to call it back when we called finishes in the locker room in the old days, brought the equalizer, the chair. It's just that everybody forgot to tell him what to do with it or how to use it. Did you see this part?
I don't think so.
You didn't see him knock Ricochet out on live, or knock Gunther out on live television in front of God and everybody.
I did not, no.
Okay, well, Ricochet bails in with the chair, and the heels powder out through the ropes, jump out, and whenever you've seen that down through the history of wrestling for years and years, when the babyface comes in and the heels have all dived out of the ring, the babyface will go after and he'll swing a wild swing over the top rope in their general direction, like, why, if I'd have got there a second later, I'd have killed you, right? You've seen it a million times. Well, fucking Ricochet, right into the ring, Gunther jumps through the ropes out on the floor, and Ricochet comes up to the rope, and instead of swinging like sideways or beside of him straight down or what, just swung the chair as hard as he could straight down at Gunther, hit him over the fucking head, busted him wide open.
Ooh.
And they tried to keep the camera off of him. But it was reported afterwards he sustained a nasty gash, I think is what they said. But he fucking dropped and laid there. And then in the little corner, before they realized, oh, shit, man is down on the field, in the corner of the camera shot, you could see, like, one of the doctor, the referee, a couple of other people, like Adam Pearce comes out. Is like, you okay? And then I guess he was bleeding. They couldn't show that. But what the fuck? He was not only moving, but he didn't make an odd move. He dove out of the ring through the ropes and landed on the floor. And the only possible way that Ricochet could have hit him is if he ran to the rope and just swung the chair straight down at the guy, which is exactly what he did, and knocked him goofier than a pet fucking coon. So, what the... Eddie, you heard it. The people fucking popped, and they could see there was no hands up. So chair shots to the head have not been banned in the WWE. You just have to be a fucking blithering simpleton and not know how to use one to deliver one. All righty, are you ready for the main event, Brian?
I'm ready.
Kevin Owens and John Cena against Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. And again, yes, he's a little smaller. Yes, he's not as tan. Yes, he's got a bald spot, or starting to. But when Cena, and he's still wearing the same shit he wore when he was 25 years old. But when he comes out with the fire and the excitement and being a star and being who he is, the people go fucking crazy because he's one of their last links to when they can think in their mind wrestling was somewhat good and popular. And he stops in front of the camera to thank the fans at home for letting him to do this for 20 years for them. Thank you. Now let's go to work. He's got it. He's got the people. He doesn't have the hardcore smart fans that want to see Felix do 16 flips, but he's got a lot more fucking people in general that want to spend some money and spend some time to see him do his thing. And they brought the bloodline out second because Cena needed to take all the time he wanted, but at the same time, you couldn't leave bloodline standing there. I like the way they did that because a lot of people, Cena didn't come out last. And as soon as they did the entrances, they went to break. So when they came back, they had 14 minutes on the air. So it wasn't going to get old. And basically, they milked, as they should have, Cena getting in the thing for the whole match. At one point, Owens is kicking Sammy's ass and Roman's not happy. And he asked to tag in and the fans start chanting for Cena. So Owens turns around to tag Cena in and Roman blindsides him and kicks the shit out of him. And there was your break spot. And they come back. Owens is fighting back. And he levels Sammy. And Cena was really working the apron. Milking that, going back to his OVW days. And that's something that guys used to teach as soon as I got into business, I heard people telling this. If the fucking guy in the ring, the babyface that's selling, is going to all that trouble and taking all that abuse to wear his fucking body out to set up a tag to you, and you're the babyface on the apron, the least you can do in that situation is work the apron and try to look interested in getting the tag and coming and cheering your man on and waiting anxiously, right? And getting the people behind it. So anyway, boom, boom, boom. Roman pulls Cena off the apron and rails him and robs the people of that tag. And then Owens super kicks Sammy, but there's no Cena in the corner. So Owens super kicks and power bombs Sammy again. 2 count. Reigns makes a save. Reigns drags Sammy over to the corner to make the tag. And then goes for the Superman punch, but Owens ducks it, hits a super kick. Nice frog splash. 2 count. But then Roman hits the Superman, goes for a spear, but misses and goes into the post, and now they've set up the tags. And it was simultaneous tags here. It wasn't a hot tag, but it didn't matter because the place blew because it was John Cena. And all those people know there that they might not ever get to see John Cena get a hot tag again, even if it wasn't a hot tag. Boom, and he makes his comeback. He lays them out side by side. He tags Owens. They do the double 5-knuckle shuffle, although I don't think Owens has ever hit the ropes before he does his special kind of 5-knuckle shuffle. It was a little off. And then John hit his finish on Roman Reigns, but didn't cover him. And Owens stunnered Sammy and covered him 1, 2, 3. And that was exactly the finish they needed. Cena looks like a world beater. Owens gets the rub. The babyfaces win. Sammy getting beat actually furthers the goddamn bloodline issue, and Roman Reigns emerged unscathed. And the people fucking loved it. That's wrestling. What'd you think, Brian?
Fun little match. Nice seeing Cena back on the show. I mean, I'll say the truth is the bald spot was a bit distracting, if we're going to be honest. After a while with Randy Savage, it was like, okay, part of the problem with the bald spot is all the hair around it. And Cena had like longer hair than usual around it, probably because of his acting stuff. So it really stood out. It stood out a lot. I mean, it was the one thing that made him look like an old man. It was the only thing that made him look like an old man. Not that you can't go bald when you're young. Keeps, ladies and gentlemen. Are they still a sponsor? Keeps, ladies and gentlemen.
We haven't seen or heard from them in a while. They may not have kept us.
But it was a good match, The question is this it? Is this the one appearance of Cena? Do you get Cena for WrestleMania? What do you do with him?
They better put a full court press on to get The Rock at WrestleMania. If they don't do it this year, they might never get a chance to. It's Los Angeles, Roman Reigns, it's perfect. Cena's just been here. If they wanted to pull Cena back for WrestleMania for anything, he would have to commit to a couple of different dates because they couldn't just say, okay, he'll be here. They just did this. He'll be here and have the big match. Well, they just did that on network TV, so they can't do the same thing on WrestleMania. He'd have to do at least 1 or 2 appearances to set something up. I think they should go full on, try to get The Rock. Because it may be now or never. It's now or never for Rock to come.
They better hurry up. I think people are getting sick of him.
Oh, come on now.
I'm serious. His last movie didn't do that well, all things considered. The Young Rock show.
How'd your last movie do there, smart ass?
I promise you, if I ever put out a movie, it may not make as much money as whatever these fucking dumb movies are that he's making, but I will be a critically acclaimed movie. And the people that go see my movies will be motivated to go make their own movies.
Well, and then they'll make more movies about you making your movies.
But again, being honest...
Which they aren't. And you don't look anything like The Rock either.
But again, being honest, his TV show, the ratings apparently are awful.
I might cast you as the best friend.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't.
You wouldn't be anybody's best friend, would you?
I'd be okay with executive producer or something at that level. But that's about all the casting I'll be willing to endure.
Well, that was about all the Smackdown we were willing to endure. That's what it was. There you go.